Hello everyone. This presentation is about comparative adjectives. This is one task from Materials Design for Virtual Environments at UNAT. Okay. On the screen you can see different words. Those words are parts of our speech in English, different words. So you can see verbs, nouns, prepositions, conjunctions, but what do the words in red have in common for you? You see old, beautiful, short, angry, interesting, blue, easy, etc. Those are words we use to describe or to talk or to say something about a person or an animal or a thing. They are called adjectives. So adjectives qualify, describe, modify nouns. So they say something that is particular. They say something that is characteristic. Again, can be people, situations, animals, things, etc. Adjectives are used to describe nouns for this case. They give information about the size, the color, or the shape, origin, etc. Depending what you mean, depending what you are watching, depending what you are seeing, depending what you are looking at, or depending the information you want to express, the opinion you want to say. As well, adjectives come in three forms: absolute, comparative, and superlative. For our case, we will talk today about comparative adjectives. Okay, again, is to compare, but you have to have in mind is only to people or to animals or to things, etc. Okay, that's called comparative adjective. When you compare, when you make comparisons, when you give your opinions about only two. Okay, you have to have in mind as well the number of the syllables of those adjectives, because when you are going to pronounce them or to write them, they are going to change a little bit. So depending on the number of the syllables, they become incomparative. That's what I'm going to explain a little bit later. Okay, after that we have one example. In this case, I'm going to compare two Colombian cities, Bogota and Cali. We can say that Bogota is a large city in Colombia, but we can say as well that Cali is another large city in Colombia. In conclusion, I can say that Bogota is larger than Cali, because it's true. Bogota is larger, is bigger than Cali. So in this case, I am using larger, the comparative, and I am talking about two Colombian cities. Okay, those are some rules. For this case, I'm going to group the adjective in some groups. The first group is to talk about adjectives with one or two syllables. You can see, for example, big, sad, fat, nice, white. In the adjective with one or two syllables, when they end in consonant, vowel, consonant, you have to double the last consonant, and after that you write the letter ER plus the word than to make the comparative. So you say bigger, you say fatter than, sadder than, you say, because they are ending in consonant, vowel, consonant. That's the rule for those kind of adjectives. For example, in the word nice or large or white, they are ending in the letter E. You just add the letter R and the word than. That is particular for making comparative, than. So you have nicer than, larger than, wider than. Examples. Elephant is bigger than cat. I am comparing two animals. Today, Jaime is sadder than yesterday. Two situations, how Jaime is feeling today and how he felt yesterday, Or English teacher is nicer than Spanish teacher. In this case, comparing two teachers, and you are showing your preference for one of those teachers. Okay, that's the first group. Like big, bigger, small, smaller, fast, faster. The second group, adjectives ending in the letter Y. In the letter Y, you can see happy, easy, or funny. For this case, when you make the comparative, you need to delete the letter Y. And you write I, E, R, and the word than. So you say happier than, easier than, funnier than. Okay, to make the comparative. For example, you can say Karen looks happier than her sister. Two people, comparing two people. Second example, to me, math is easier than science. Okay, you are comparing two subjects from your school. Okay, or to say comedy movies are funnier than adventure movies. I am comparing two kinds of movies. But again, remember the rule. If they end in the letter Y, delete letter Y, and you write I-E-R plus the word than. In this example, you have two mathematical operations. You can say, okay, operation A is easier than operation B. Another group, adjective with more than two syllables. Big words. For example, you have the adjective interesting, difficult, important, expensive. For those big words, you use the word more or less, depending if you mean positive or negative point of view, positive or negative opinions about what you are talking about. You say more interesting than, you say more difficult than, less important than, or less expensive than. So in this case, the rule is different because they are big words. Adjective with more than two syllables. For example, reading is more interesting than writing. Okay, I'm comparing two skills, reading and writing. Or driving a car is less difficult than flying a plane. Okay, two different activities in two different means of transportation. Or to say vegetables are less expensive than fast food. Okay, and now in this picture you can see two kinds of wine. If you see the prices, you can ask, or you can say, okay, which is more expensive or which is less expensive, depending on the price. Because expensive is a big word, it's a big adjective with more than two syllables. You use for more or less. The final group is called irregular adjectives. Pay attention because they are irregular. What means irregular? Okay, that means that they have their own word to become in comparative. So irregular adjectives don't follow the previous rules. Okay, so you are not going to say, remember, you are not going to say gooder than or better than, things like that. No, no, no. For good, you say better. You say better than. For bad, you say worse, worse than. For far, you can say farther than or further than. Farther than in case you talk about distance, or further than in case you talk about knowledge or deeply knowledge. Okay. For example, you can say Mike is better than Robert in tennis class. Okay. Or being absent to class is worse than coming late to it. Okay. Or today I ran for 3 miles. Yesterday I just ran 2 miles. In conclusion, I can say that today I ran farther than yesterday. Okay. Again, I continue comparing two people or two situations. Maybe you know these particular people. They are from Simpson's family. And you can say Lisa is better at school than Bart. That's the conception we have. Okay, better is an irregular adjective. Lisa is better at school than Bart. Okay. Finally, remember these aspects. Compare only two people or two things or two situations or two animals. when you say comparative adjectives. Okay, only 2. Have in mind the number of syllables, because some of those give you the idea how to make the comparative in how to make the adjective in a comparative, how to transform. Use er plus than when apply. Remember, for those small words, adjective from 1 or 2 syllables. Use more or less when apply. Remember, for adjective with more than 2 syllables. And be careful with irregular adjectives, because they have their own word to make the comparative. Okay, now practice. Marta got 95 on her English test. Maria got 65 on her English test. Okay, example number 1. Marta's score is than Maria's. You have the word high in parentheses. Second example, Maria's score is than Marta's. You have the adjective low. Third example, Marta is than Maria in English, and you have the adjective good. What could be the answer for number 1? Marta's score is higher than Maria's. Answer for number 2, Maria's score is lower than Marta's. Answer for number 3, Marta is better than Maria in English. To apply the correct comparative in every case. And this is the link of this presentation in SlideShare. As I told you before, this is part of one of the tasks in one of the courses at UNAT, and I have to upload it into SlideShare. SlideShare is a powerful and wonderful web tool to teach. So in this case, this is the link where you can have this presentation, watch it as many times as possible as you want. I'm going to click in here to open it, and after that you just need the link. You just copy and paste the link. That will be easy for you to remember this presentation, the use of comparative adjectives at your own. Again, you can have the link, and it will be easy for you to work on that. Okay, so that's all for this case. Thank you very much, and see you on the next time.